Hey, what's up and how's it going, all MRBers? I'm Mike McRock for the Make Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show, and right now I'm going to give you my review for last night's WWE Monday Night RAW. Thank you, WWE. That's all I have to say. That is what I'm talking about. That is how you get me invested into watching SummerSlam. That is how you actually make me look forward to a pay-per-view and not constantly prostituting and plugging the network. I mean, we saw it last week where the WWE plugged the network at least 17 times. That's completely overkill. But on this week's show, it was only mentioned, 2 or 3 times? Thank you. I mean, that's how you get more subs. You don't constantly plug the network over and over. You only do it just a couple of times here or there. And the rest of the show should be building up to the next pay-per-view event. In this case, it's SummerSlam. And they've done a fantastic job here. And to me, that helped a lot, in my opinion. The show was a lot more tolerable to sit through for 3 hours. This show was filled with fun, action-packed events that took place throughout the entire 3-hour Raw. Let's just get right down to what happened on the show. And the show kicked off with a Triple H promo. Yes, I know. I'm going to pump the brakes here and say that I still think that WWE should kick off the show with a match instead of a promo. I mean, what's the harm in doing that? But with this promo, I like it because it was very short and sweet. What happened is you have Triple H come out, and he's like in a mad rage. He is furious that Cena retained the championship at Battleground. And he says he has options to think about, A, B, C, what have you. And we all know what's coming. I mean, you can predict this from a mile away that Brock Lesnar is going to show up at the end of the show, which I will get to later on. But what I like here is that there was a moment here where Triple H actually gave a little shoot to the internet fans here, saying that I'm going to tweet in a mad rage and say I'm going to stop watching the show. That was a stroke of genius on the part of Triple H here. And then you have Randy Orton coming out here and says, hey, what about me? I should be the next guy in line. I want my rematch for the title. Then now comes Kane and says that I don't want to be Randy Orton's babysitter anymore. I want to be in the main event. And then you have Roman Reigns come out here, basically saying that no one wants to see John Cena versus Randy Orton over and over and over, and we don't want to see Randy Orton versus John Cena and Randy Orton versus John Cena versus Kane either. They want to see John Cena versus Roman Reigns for the championship. And that's all well and good. I like what they're setting up here with Roman Reigns and the potential match he might have with either Randy Orton or Kane at SummerSlam. You can go either way here, or you can use a subplot, a sub-device here to further develop a storyline between Roman Reigns and Randy Orton by using Kane. And what I like here is that Triple H made the 2-on-1 handicap match here, which kind of led me to think, yeah, it's definitely Brock Lesnar, because if Triple H made the announcement that these three go out in a triple threat match to determine the number one contender, you can bet your ass it would be Roman Reigns to win the match and be the number one contender. So I get the reason behind what they done here on Raw, having this match take place at the beginning of the show. And this was a very standard match, nothing special, but what I like is that Roman Reigns, week after week after week, is starting to really grow. He's getting better on the mic. He's getting better in the ring. He's not so green as he used to be. He's starting to come out as an individual and as a performer, and that's a really good thing because the WWE not only needs to focus on building and creating new stars, Roman Reigns is doing his part very well here. And like I said, very standard match. Roman Reigns goes over. He just went through these guys, no problem. And then we get into Stephanie McMahon coming out, but before the match that Nikki Bella had with Alicia Fox, Cameron, Eva Marie, and Rosa Mendez. And here we see Brie out in the audience as a fan. She bought a ticket to see the show, and Stephanie noticed that she's there. And what happens is that these two have a confrontation just outside the ring, and Brie Bella calls Stephanie McMahon a bitch here twice. And all of a sudden, Stephanie just comes up to her and slaps the mouth out of her. And you could tell that the fans were right into it, even the people that were right beside Brie. And you have the security guy trying to hold people back. A lot of things were happening that were really good here, that were going on with these two divas. And then you have the match happen. It didn't need to go on too long. It was just very short, 5-second match. Alicia Fox scissor kick pins Nikki Bella, and then Stephanie gets on the microphone again and basically tells Nikki Bella that this is all Brie's fault, and I will make you believe that Brie Bella is a villain, and you will turn on her. I don't see that happening here with Nikki Bella. I see that Brie Bella will do her thing with Stephanie McMahon at SummerSlam, and then later on, Flo Rida performed. No one will remember it. Songs from 2 years ago. Who cares? I was waiting for the Hook, or at least Heath Slater, to come out and attack Flo Rida after what happened backstage. But what happened here is that after the match, after this performance, it was overshadowed by Stephanie McMahon getting arrested for battery on Brie Bella. And Brie Bella, remember, she came here as a fan, and you can't have fans if you're a part of the WWE. You know, this is going back to, remember what happened with CM Punk a year ago, when he was up in the fans and he was trying to defend himself. And you see that coming out of Stephanie McMahon, and she was gold. She sold it all the way to the police car. And here you have Triple H. You know, I could have expected him to be a lot more furious than he was. He was trying to sell it, saying, you know, this was a career decision that you just made here, and you could get fired over it. And here Stephanie, all in the while, was just selling it like I never seen Stephanie act so well here. Talking about one of myself, right for self-defense, etc., etc. And then you have Brie Bella, who I always talk about that she's not so much of a good actor with her screaming. She was great here as well. And I love what they're doing here with Brie and Stephanie. I like where this is going with these two and making it real as possible by involving the police. This was fantastic. This was gold. Not only out of Stephanie, but for Brie Bella as well. This is something that's leading up to SummerSlam to make me invested into a storyline. So Chris Jericho was supposed to show up and host a highlight reel with a special guest Bray Wyatt, but what ended up happening is that Bray Wyatt attacked Chris Jericho backstage, and it happened on the WWE app. And then they show it on TV. What's the point of having the app when they're going to show it on the TV? That makes no sense at all. To me, this would have been a lot better if it was Bray Wyatt attacking Chris Jericho in the ring to really spice up the feud. But what I did like is that when he did attack Chris Jericho backstage, he nailed his sister Abigail on the locker, and then later on we saw Chris Jericho with some blood on his face. I like it. It does add that spark, but come on. If you want to develop a story between two guys, you do it in a traditional kind of manner. You do it in the ring. You have a confrontation between Chris Jericho and Bray Wyatt. One goes over the other. One gets the last word in the ring, not backstage. That was ridiculous. And then we get to the promo with Bray Wyatt as he comes out and he talks about a loss is nothing, but the war means much more. But excuse the heck out of me, but with all due respect to Bray Wyatt, he lost the war with John Cena. And then he goes on to say that he's the guy that defeated all these guys. And here I'm thinking, wow, I can't take Bray Wyatt seriously at all because of the fact that Bray Wyatt not only lost at the Battleground pay-per-view, not only he lost at Money in the Bank Payback, but at WrestleMania as well, the shows of all shows, and he loses there. So I just couldn't take Bray serious at all in his promo. To me, he just wasn't able to back up his words. Even though I like when Bray Wyatt talks on the microphone, he does cut really great, outstanding promos. Tonight, it just felt like there was no meaning behind his words while he was speaking. I really don't understand why the WWE is not building this guy into a big monster heel. And on top of that, maybe it's time to really refreshen up and rejuvenate Bray Wyatt instead of having the same old monster heel. Why not change it up? I think it's about time that the WWE does change it up for Bray Wyatt and not have him being so heel. Because he does these things like Tampa, we're here, and Birmingham, we're here, and etc., etc., and he does face-like things, have him turn babyface. To me, that is the most logical thing to do right now for Bray Wyatt. And when it comes to this rivalry between Chris Jericho and Bray Wyatt, I hope that the WWE gives me something, that's all. WWE, give me something to come out of this Bray Wyatt and Chris Jericho feud. Please. So Bo Dallas wins a match over Damien Sandow playing LeBron James here. And I gotta give it to Damien Sandow here. He was gaining massive heat. The fans hated him for playing LeBron James. And I really like that quote where he said, "Cleveland, I'm coming home." That was gold. The only little issue is that for some reason Bo Dallas was coming off as a babyface. Careful, WWE, be very, very careful. Oh, and by the way, Zack Ryder actually won a match against Fandango. That's fantastic! Also on the show, Rusev faced the Great Khali, and the best way I could describe this is jobber squash. I guess the idea is that they wanted to make it look like that Great Khali wanted to overpower Rusev, but that never really happened here. Rusev just flew right by the Great Khali. But the one thing that I will mention is that when Lana was about to speak, they cut her off and have the Great Khali come out. I guess that was the WWE's way of telling us as fans that we're going to back off of the whole Putin subject due to the controversy of what happened based on Battleground and what has transpired, I guess. Even though they never really technically said that, yeah, there is something going on there. Easily the match of the night on this Raw was Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz in a non-title match. And going in this match, I was actually okay of either guy winning this match. That really didn't bother me at all, because if The Miz would have won, he would gain a lot more nuclear heat, and if Dolph Ziggler won, he would be in contention for the Intercontinental Championship. And what I really like about this match is that finally The Miz has that really good gimmick, and I believe with this new gimmick, this adds a lot more psychology to his matches with the whole "don't touch the moneymaker," "this is my face, I'm good looking, I'm the movie star, please don't touch it." It's kind of going to the whole Tyler Breeze gimmick on NXT. So I really like that from The Miz here, and I really enjoyed this match from top to bottom. Here you have Dolph Ziggler and The Miz go at it. Very climatic win. Dolph Ziggler wins in the end in this non-title match, and now he's being in contender for the Intercontinental Championship. Hopefully, this builds up to SummerSlam. And then we get to a tag team match with Natalya teaming up with Emma taking on AJ Lee and Paige. And going into this match, I'm thinking, okay, if we never got it at Battleground, we're going to get it here. And boy, did we ever. And I'm not going to talk about the match because this was very standard. I like the German suplex from Natalya, but that was pretty much it. But in the end, after AJ Lee and Paige won, shit hit the fan. Paige, as two of them were celebrating in the ring, Paige pulls down AJ Lee's hair, wham, turns heel, tosses her out in the ring, tosses her through the barricade, tosses her into the ring post, tosses her over the announce table. This was excellent. Finally, we get to see Paige as an anti-diva. I hope for more. I was kind of expecting a little bit more to come out of it, but my hopes were probably a little bit too high. But I'm glad it happened, and how it happened was very, very well done. It was well executed, and now hopefully we get to see more out of Paige as this new anti-diva. I think this is the best thing to happen for Paige. It gives her a character development, a reason, and a purpose into facing AJ Lee for the Divas Championship after she lost at Battleground. This storyline should come out great. And then we get to a match between Ryback teaming up to take on Big E and Kofi Kingston. And going into this match, I'm thinking, why is this match taking place here at this moment? What is the reason? What is the purpose behind it? To me, there was none going in. But coming out of it, there was. And even though this was a very standard tag team match, nothing special really happened throughout the wrestling of this match, I like that Kofi Kingston got pinned here by Ryback, and then afterwards you see Kofi Kingston and Big E kind of arguing a little bit here, and then Xavier Woods comes out looking like Malcolm X, and he's talking on the microphone, and he's talking about wanting to find an order and a purpose for being here, and we should take what's ours. We should take this, take that, and take everything. Take over the world. And they were like, yep, we should. And here I'm thinking, holy crap, what a mark-out moment. New Nation of Domination 2.0? I'm sold. If you're going to do this, go all the way with it. Don't just have Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Big E Langston. Have guys like R-Truth, Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, even the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Even the entire locker room that are the African Americans. Do this, WWE. You will create a really good monster faction. I'm already sold on this, and I hope they continue this going forth. Let's see where this goes and see where this leads up to. Even for Kofi Kingston as well. To me, this is long overdue. Finally, and I mean finally, they're doing something different with Kofi Kingston. I don't mind Big E. He's been a heel before. I don't know how Xavier Woods will do as a heel. But with Kofi Kingston, thank you WWE for giving him a reboot of a character. And I think a heel turn will do wonders for Kofi Kingston. Mark my words. So earlier backstage, you see a segment between Triple H, Cesaro, Seth Rollins. Cesaro comes in and says that he's no longer a Paul Heyman guy. And here I'm thinking, I hope the WWE wisens up here and actually book him properly in the right way. Hopefully something good happens for Cesaro. Have him turn babyface. And to me, putting him in a match with Dean Ambrose kind of really didn't help his career at all. Because this was basically Dean Ambrose gaining one up on Cesaro. That made Cesaro not look good in my opinion. But the whole point here is that they make Dean Ambrose look good to further develop the feud between him and Seth Rollins. Now, as much as I enjoyed the physicality in this match, to me, when I look at Dean Ambrose, I look at a guy that should just come out and just destroy people, go on a looting fringe instead of having a standard match. That's the only nitpicky issue I had. So as much as I like Cesaro and Dean Ambrose going at it, and this show overall was actually so well done, this match kind of felt underwhelming, and you're going to get that type of match here with Ambrose and Cesaro that ultimately kind of was just okay out of a show that felt really good. So yeah, this match was kind of underwhelming, but I like what they've done here with Dean Ambrose. He grabs a steel chair, hits Cesaro with it, and he just goes off like a lunatic. Again, another thing that adds to his character, and I love what they're doing here with Dean Ambrose to go about SummerSlam between him and Seth Rollins. I hope for great more things to happen between these two guys moving forth to SummerSlam. And then we get to the final segment on Monday Night Raw, and the question remains, who will face John Cena for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam? We saw this from eons away. Before I get into that, basically what this was Triple H coming out and says he's about to make the announcement, and then Randy Orton's music hits. And here I'm thinking, Randy Orton? No, not another Randy Orton John Cena match, please. No. I would rather Brock Lesnar and John Cena, for crying out loud. And I'm glad they didn't go there. Basically what this was a diversion here. You have Roman Reigns coming out of nowhere and attacking Randy Orton, which sets up their feud going towards SummerSlam. And then shortly after that, Paul Heyman comes out and says, look no further than option C, and that is my client, Brock Lesnar. And out comes Brock Lesnar, and he shakes hands with Triple H, and off he goes. And Paul Heyman cut an excellent promo here. He just kept going on and on and on and on, talking about how Brock Lesnar is going to decimate John Cena, how he's going to hurt John Cena, how he's going to name John Cena. I love this side of Paul Heyman, the way he goes over the top. That is when he is at his very best. I mean, this guy could sell me a used car and I'd buy it. He's that good on the microphone. So I loved what happened here on this final segment, even though, yes, I don't like that it will be Brock Lesnar and John Cena at SummerSlam, because we've seen this feud before. We see the same old stuff over and over and over from the WWE, but at least Paul Heyman cut a very excellent promo to get me invested into this match at SummerSlam. Paul Heyman done his job very well. And like I said, I'm on the fence of being interested into this match at SummerSlam. Hopefully they'll do a lot more than just the Paul Heyman promo. And what I really like about this episode of Raw is that there was no John Cena. He wasn't on the show at all. That was great. And like I said, overall, this show done really, really good. And to me, less is more. When you plug the network, only do it in short spurts. Just a couple of times, that's it. That they done that here. They don't have to do it 17 times. That's just completely overkill. Do it a couple of times, at least. Because, in the same time, you want to promote your network, but in the same time, you want to build up to your next pay-per-view event. In this case, it's SummerSlam. So I gotta give this show major props. It produced a really good show. It felt very refreshing to sit down and watch a tolerable 3-hour show. And the only little issue I had with the show was Flo Rida. I mean, the performances really shouldn't be on Raw. This is not the Grammys. This is WWE Raw. I'm giving this show 7.5 out of 10. It was refreshing. It was great. This was a great 3-hour show, in my opinion. And if you saw this episode of Raw, what did you think about it? Comment below, let me know. While you're at it, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video. You can also follow MRB Wrestling on Twitter. And you can like us on Facebook at the Mick Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. Now a final note to all your viewers watching, get plenty of rest, and always do your best.